Well, I've been into fishing and hiking and camping for a long time, so I have a collection of knives that I built up over the years. A lot of these moras are actually quite new. I like these knives here are perfect for woodcraft. That's why I concentrate on the moras. And this was kind of like a little fishing knife. Well, in a sense, they're all fishing knives. They're only used for hiking, camping, fishing. And I like to dress up my. These companions are nice. I got them in stainless steel and in carbon steel. And I think that's the. What's this one here? That's carbon steel. The 411 or something like that. And to light my fire. Yeah, I like that. Stay down, mittens. And I do have a few bigger knives. That's an Italian Bowie, leather stacked handle on rat tail. I have to be honest, it has a sharp edge, beautiful steel, really nice steel. It holds an edge forever. But there's one problem with it. You can't bang it because of the leather stacked handle. If that gets loosened up, the whole thing's just going to fall apart. So you're not going to be able to bang it through a piece of hardwood to split it in two to throw it in a fire. Not like a lot of the big knife videos you see them splitting large firewood with their knives, battening them. You can't do it with this one. This one is almost, I would say, more of a showpiece than anything. And as always, I always try to add pouches onto the sheath, dress up the sheath in some way. I would rather have had green camo tape or something on that, but it's no big worry. I don't really take this knife out to the woods anyway. And this here is a new addition. It's one of the G96 type knives. And I don't like the sheath for it. The sheath is a little shoddy. But that can be fixed up anyway. You can order a new sheath for it, or even make one if you have to. This one here is when I had my cabin at Miss Peck's Stream. This was a knife that was thrown in the garbage, and it had an original different shape. I gave it kind of a slight drop point for skinning game or something like that. I gave it a drop point with an edge on the tip along the top of the right there, so that you could at least open up a deer with it. And I made my own sheath for it. When I first built my cabin out at Miss Peck's Stream, I had found this in a ditch among some garbage. What they had done with it is they had chopped wire. They had chopped wire with it, and there were gouges in the edge. So I filed the edge all down and gave it a new edge, and I gave it that little drop point. So this is the knife that I used for, well, since I had my little cabin at Miss Peck's Stream. Now this here is So most of the time you'll see me carrying either this knife or one of the Moras. And that's only in the woods, of course. Now I got the opinels. I like the opinels, but to be my honest review is, since this is a wooden joint, it's not going to be as strong as this here. It won't be near as strong. And of course, there's the Swiss Army knives. We got, altogether I've got 3 of these, and the 33 tool multi-tool kit. You can't beat it. It's excellent. They're excellent to own. A little, I think it's CRKT. It's one of those flick open knives. And the reason that I actually bought this was specifically for wood crafting. And the same with all of these knives here. Wood crafting. Basically how to carve triggers for snares, how to make buttons, how to carve out tobacco pipe bowls, how to make wooden spoons, stuff like that. It's intricate little bushcraft stuff that you can do with these that you can't do with something like this. You just can't do the same bushcraft with large knives. And that is my collection. Well, at the moment. Who knows? Next year, a month from now or next year, I might decide to waste some more money and buy another knife or something. But for going to Rockwood Park, I'm not bringing these knives here. No, I'm just going to Rockwood Park. I'll just carry my my SAK knives. Now, if I'm going out into the hills, out past Mispec, go out to the woods where there's moose and wild dog, and I want a larger knife, I will rely either on the Mora or this, or maybe even this. But before I even started carrying that in the woods, I'm going to make a lot of changes to that sheath. In other words, I'm going to buy a great big a belt, a good leather belt that's super wide, so I can bend it over and turn it into a sheath. I'll just reinforce it, just like I did this one. See, that was a leather belt right there. And I just kind of folded it over, and I used a lot of 2 or 3 different kinds of good waterproof tapes and Ziplocs, and I fashioned a homemade sheath, and this one will last years. This one is going to last lifetimes. Yeah, when I go into the deep woods, I definitely am not going to fall back on just that. I know I could rely on it if push came to shove, but I will always have one of the Moras or this, and I will always have an SAK, and that's the only 2 knives you would need. Yep. That's the only two knives that you would really require. Anyway, this is my little collection. And it's, every time I look at a blade, I always think, what could I do with it? What could I do with it? What could I make with it? How would it allow me to survive in the woods? And I think you could safely call any of these knives a survival knife. But the two of the weakest, for strength-wise, the two of the weakest knives would be these two. One, because it has a little stainless steel thing there, the lock mechanism I'll call it, and that wood. That wood is a liability. And that is the weakest knife because stacked leather handle and a rat tail, you bang that and the silver end comes off, it's just going to fall apart, and you will have no way to repair that knife in the woods. Not unless you were really, really crafty. And got these little, you could probably manage okay in the woods even with this. Even this is that 1989 Camelus knife, and it would serve you good in the woods as well. It will give you a survival blade, because all you need is something with a cutting edge, whether it's 2 inches long or 6 inches long or 3 inches long. It doesn't really matter, just as long as it has an edge that you can sharpen, that you can make cordage with, or fashion a friction fire set with. The Stone Age knives, they look a heck of a lot different than these modern knives. It take a kind of rounded tip stone with an edge that's sharp enough to part skin. That was your bush knife in the Neolithic period, or the Stone Age. But I must say my my three favorite knives out of all this, I've only got three that are my absolute favorite. I got this one here. I think this is the stainless, yes. And I chose to go with the stainless because it's not going to rust. It's a little harder to sharpen, but it will hold the edge a long time. And this is my go-to for when I go to the cabin. It's yeah, I used it to cut a lot of fishing line and cordage and stuff, but I have a sentimental value with this one. And with this one here too, I've got sentimental value. Well, I better put these away before the cat decides to jump on the table. I will see you online. Oh, the oldest knife here that I have, I forgot to mention the age. I think is this one. That's a 1970s model. Somewhere from the 70s. I believe that is the oldest modern knife that I have. Might be one of these too. But these old SAK knives, if you can find them in good shape, they're well worth the money. I only wish I had the farmer's knife or camper's knife. This is pretty close to the camper's knife, but I keep my eye open for new Swiss Army knives every now and then. Alrighty. I will see you online.